Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator news and updates. We've got some awesome information, some new details about the F-28 that was just released, the upcoming PC-12, and more. So stick around, you guys. If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkills tutorial guides or simply interested in supporting the channel, please consider joining me on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides as well as any future guides that come along down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below, and thank you to all of my current subscribers. So starting off with a very exciting piece of aviation history that's coming down the line to Microsoft Flight Simulator within the next couple months, hopefully, is the Beechcraft 60 Duke. Now, we talked about this a little while back when the Black Square first teased us about it, but now it is starting to come closer and closer to the simulator skies. So let's talk about what the variations of the aircraft that are going to be released. Now, keep in mind that the Duke was produced between 1968 and 1983 with almost about 600 different production units. Now, the aircraft received a significant update with the Beechcraft A60 and B60 improvement models that offered some various performance enhancements. What we are going to see is we're going to see two different variants of the Duke. Now, both will be individual purchases, so do not think this is an entire package. You will have to select one or the other or buy them both. So the first one that we're going to have is we're going to have a piston version, which would be based on the 1974 Bravo 60 Duke, with options to fly with or without the Grand Duke Performance Package, which we'll be talking about here in just a minute. Now, one of the really cool things about the Black Square Duke is they have specifically stated that it will be their best aircraft yet, quote unquote, with one of the most realistic flight models, as well as being extremely feature rich, having over 110 possible failures and 500 settable checklist items with a 3D custom pack and obviously a heck of a lot more that's going to be offered with this particular aircraft, as well as a pressurized cabin on top of that. And then you will also have the turbine version. So the turbine version, obviously, you get into the turboprop aircraft, you're going to be flying faster, you're going to be flying higher. So it's really going to be based on where you're looking. One of the things that I'm really super excited about this particular release of aircraft is they have stated that it's going to be primary analog gauges, meaning that we're not going to have any glass cockpit. Most of the modern navigation equipment has been removed from this particular aircraft and will not be simulated in it. So you're going to have to learn how they flew the thing back in its time of prime. And I'm super excited about that. I know that there are many of you who enjoy the glass cockpits. I still enjoy the glass cockpits. They're cool, they're modern, but there was just something about the old analog cockpits that really, really are exciting to me. It requires much more effort, requires much more knowledge. Certainly, it's going to expand the user base experience in the aircraft because you're having to rely so much more on your piloting ability than the glass cockpit telling everything to you right in front. And I think that's the excitement for me, is just the challenge of flying some of these old aircraft. For example, you want to get into it here, guys. These two aircraft here, or these two gauges here, are still, see, I think that's just our HSI with a heading indicator, so that one's fine with a course line. But like this one here, I don't know that I've ever used in any kind of depth of simulation. I believe this is our ILS navigator here, but again, I don't think that I've ever used it on a steam gauge aircraft before. I think I've always sort of forced myself to stay away from it. And one of the things that I really want to get that I haven't picked up yet is the Baron adjustment to the steam gauges and all those aircraft. They did the steam gauge overhaul. I want to get into those. But you can look in here and you can see the very limited glass cockpit technology inside this particular aircraft. And I'm super excited for this one. I'm loving the textures. The textures look absolutely beautiful. The shading, the depth of gauges, right down to the screen, to the cockpit. I mean, the cabin looks fantastic. This is really, really a beautiful job well done on this one. And I'm super excited for this aircraft. I love the big airliners. The big airliners are fun, but the GA just offers so many more different variations of flight than you can do than with the airliners. And It's nice to see more of the complex development styles of general aviation starting to come down the line. We got one more that we're going to be talking about here before the video is over, so stay tuned. But I'm super excited for this particular aircraft. I think this is going to be a great one. Black Square does some very, very awesome work, and I don't think that we're going to be disappointed at all with this particular aircraft. I don't have any information as far as price point or anything like that as of yet. I just know that the turbine version and the piston version will be sold separately. Now, the turbine version comes with the Grand Duke Performance package, which basically offers a higher performance turbine engine, as well as, like I was saying earlier, you're going to have faster performance. You're also going to have a higher elevation that you can fly at, which is obviously going to be more fuel efficient, flight efficient, things like that. So, cross your fingers, guys. They're saying 1 to 2 months to release. And I am very, very much so looking forward to this one. This one's going to be a cool one. It does look like it supports the PMS 550, though, if that is an aircraft that you, or that's an avionics that you guys can't live without. It looks like that is something that is modeled right there, if I'm not mistaken. Personally, I want to keep it as old school as possible. I think I liked the first set better, where it had all the, yeah. Oh, well, it looks like all of them had that. Did I miss that? Our first one didn't have that. Let's go back a couple screenshots. Yeah, this one. Okay, yeah, this is what I'm more aiming for here. It's more the style of just the radio stacks versus the single. What am I looking for? The 550, 550, 750, 750. That's better. Helps when you say the right thing. Anyway. So let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comments below. Are you guys going to be, what kind of avionics system are you looking for? Are you guys excited about the turbine? Are you guys excited about the piston version of the aircraft? Or are you excited for both? Tell me what you guys think, because this is definitely an aircraft I want to jump all over. Here's another one that caught my attention, definitely caught me off guard, and I think was a brilliant idea. South Oak Company, the developer of FS Birds and Traffic in Sight, has released a new add-on for Microsoft Flight Simulator, which adds the Aurora Borealis, or also known as the Northern Lights. As you guys know, these Northern Lights are typically seen between September and April in the Northern Hemisphere, and has a very, very beautiful arrangement of colors. This is something that I would absolutely love to see in real life. Now, they have done advanced algorithms, quote-unquote, as well as, quote-unquote, accurately recreates the mesmerizing light patterns. Now, this is really cool because they've even set the longitude and latitude coordinates correctly, making sure to keep it up in the Northern Hemisphere where they actually belong. So you're not going to just be able to see these anywhere. What I really appreciate about what they've done here, you guys, is they not only provided this for us, but they kept it cheap. €7.99. You guys can be found on Sim Market if you guys want to add the Northern Lights to your flight simulation experience. I'm going to be picking this one up, so if you guys are interested in seeing what it actually looks like in live action, stay tuned to the channel and you guys will see it as well with one of my flights. I've always wanted to see it. It's one of those things that I would love to see in real life. You know, my wife got to go to Norway not too long ago, and she was almost there, but unfortunately the lights didn't appear that particular time that she was there. But we want to go back, and this is something that I definitely want to see. Anytime, I don't care if it's on TV or what, they're just absolutely beautiful. And I highly recommend you guys do some research on what causes the Northern Lights. It's actually a really interesting phenomenon. And make sure that you guys dive into that, because I think you'll appreciate it. It's pretty cool piece of information there on how they become to be. So again, you guys, that's going to be on the Sim Market, €7.99. I think that comes out to like $6 and change US. And again, thank you to South Oak Company. I think this was a really cool add-on and definitely thinking outside the box. As you guys may or may not know, Just Flight recently released the F-28 from Microsoft Flight Simulator, the VFR 28. But on top of that, they have also now started releasing a very detailed tutorial series walking you through the different various phases of flight, in order to create a smooth experience. Me, as someone who creates tutorial guides and does a lot of tutorial videos, I really appreciate what they're doing here and the way that they've broken it down. At the moment, there are 4 of them. each between 15 and 20 minutes long, giving you the option to pause, take notes, and slowly extrapolate the information and absorb it a little bit better rather than having one longer video. As a content creator who has done tutorials in the past, I can tell you that it's always a battle of deciding, do you do one video or do you do break it up into multiple and keep people waiting, let them practice one section? So I can definitely understand and appreciate the effort that has come into these types of videos, much less making more than one. It makes it tough because you never know quite where that stopping point should be. So to Just Flight, well done on you. I think that was a wonderful way they broke this down. The 4 segments are powering on the aircraft, engine start and taxi, takeoff and climb, descent and landing. Now, as you guys can see, the aircraft is definitely very highly modeled, definitely up to the Just Flight standards of most aircraft that they release. I know there are some who say that, there tends to be a little bit of debate on, how the modeling is done. But I personally believe that Just Flight does a pretty darn good job on their aircraft and the modeling, especially on the older aircraft. They tend to make them look old, and I really appreciate the way they do that. Of course, it models 4K textures, accurate animations throughout, custom ground surface equipment, and optional equipment such as an engine hush kit and the high-frequency antennas. Now, one of the things that it doesn't really particularly state here is necessary on how to create flight plans and things like that, but I don't know that this particular aircraft does it in the way that we're used to. Without having any experience with the aircraft, I am going to walk through the tutorials, and then I am going to be purchasing this aircraft as well. I think the F-28 is a really iconic and very fun looking plane. Definitely going to be much more complex than the airliners that we're used to flying, whether it be the 737, the A320, it does not matter. This one's going to require a lot more hands-on and a lot more attention to those to the flight deck in order to maintain a good flight experience. So I'm sort of excited about this one. This one can be picked up for 52 pounds and 52.49 pounds. I don't know what the cents is. You don't say cents, obviously, but I can't remember what the breakdown there is. As you can see, the picture from the flight deck there, you guys, no FMCs that I can see there, nothing like that. So it's going to be all of us flying the old-fashioned way, so we'll see. And I could have just missed the FMC, but this is definitely an aircraft that I want to pick up and try out. It's just, oh man, have we been buried here on the channel lately. But I'm truly, truly excited about this one, and I'm very, very grateful for the tutorial work that has been done for this particular bird by Just Flight. So if you guys have wanted to pick up an aircraft like this, but you were concerned about the ability to learn the aircraft as you go, Just Flight has now solved that problem by providing the tutorial experiences. So make sure that you guys jump on this aircraft if it's something that you want to have. LatinVFR bouncing back in with another update to their Airbus series of aircraft. Remember, they have the A321neo, the A319, and the A318. Before we get into the updates and changes that LatinVFR is bringing to their series of aircraft, I want to remind everyone what LatinVFR's goal is in the complexity of their aircraft. The idea behind it is to provide something a bit more feature-rich and maybe, quote-unquote, a little bit more difficult or expensive than that of the default A320, but not quite to the simulation experience provided by Flybywire and the Phoenix Simulations Airbus aircraft. Again, this is by design. This is to give somebody a little bit more to do in the aircraft than what the default A3 series provides, but not be as complex and maybe stunt the learning curve quite a bit in comparison to the aforementioned other two aircraft. So keeping that in mind and what LatinVFR's goal is, they have released a new patch that are releasing a new patch that is going to be bringing 11 specific new changes to the LatinVFR aircraft. Those are going to be things like IRS alignment being simulated, a customized autopilot giving VNAV behavior, allowing the plane to correctly and accurately follow the altitude constraints on descent. Takeoff speeds, initial climb phase, target speeds corrected, giving the more accurate speeds and requirement information to provide a more authentic takeoff for you guys. Descent and landing speed customizations on auto throttle. Navigraph implementation on the EFB, so you guys will now be able to have your charts, much like the more complex aircraft do. SimBrief flight plan menu on the EFB. So this one I'm kind of curious about. I don't know if that means that you're just going to have your flight plan displayed or if you're actually going to be able to create your flight plan from the EFB. I'm not 100% sure on that one. They didn't really go into a whole lot of detail on that yet. So that one's up for debate a little bit. New menus enhancements to the EFB. A co-pilot EFB has now been added. which could be cool, especially for those of you who are using things like your controls. I don't know if the LatinVFR aircraft are supporting your controls yet, but if they are, I could see that would be dope. If your controls is not a part of the LatinVFR aircraft or does not support the LatinVFR aircraft, I guess I'm not 100% positive why the Copilot EFB is needed, but that's just me. I don't understand why you go over there. I don't know. That one just seems kind of silly to me. It seems like a unnecessary focal point, but teach their own, right? Fuel prediction page on the CDU predicts an estimated fuel at destination. That's a good thing. You want that, especially for your landing calculations if you want them to be accurate. And a cruise page added to the eCam, and then other fixes and enhancements on the back end of the aircraft performance. So again, pretty cool stuff. I have to give LatinVFR credit. They've certainly been continuously updating the aircraft. So it's not something that they just did as a one and done, but they're continuously adding new features while maintaining their stance, again, coming back to what their goal is. Their goal is to stay between the Flybywire, Phoenix, and the default, giving you a little bit more to do, a little bit more features, but without the complexity of the highly simulated aircraft. Now, the other thing that is still on the plate is that the aircrafts are being tested in the Xbox environment before it is being released. But hopefully they'll have further information for Xbox release by the end of this month. So cross your fingers to you Xbox users. The last beautiful announcement that we have on today's list is the update from the Simwork Studios PC-1247. The exterior texturing of the aircraft is now reported as complete. And by the time of this video, it sounds like the cockpit should be wrapped up at this point. So this is a super exciting development from Simwork Studios. I have been monitoring the development of this aircraft for quite some time. This is going to be another one that is going to truly be matching that of the enjoyment of the TBM 930 with a bit more of nostalgia involved in the aircraft itself. The aircraft is supposed to be highly detailed upon its release, giving everything from failures to avionics accuracy, flight control surface accuracy, as well as just an overall authentic experience to the aircraft, even modeling engine wear and tear and maintenance requirements. This is an aircraft that I am super, super excited for. As you guys may or may not know, the TBM 930 has probably been my favorite aircraft in Microsoft Flight Simulator of this genre for quite a long time. And with the previous release of the Coronado's PC-12, it was kind of unfortunately a disappointment when the aircraft came to release in comparison to that of what the expectation was. Now, that's not to say anything bad about Coronado, guys. I do not want to emphasize that at all. That is not the point that I'm getting at. We all know what Coronado and their aircraft are typically about and the kind of level that you can expect from their aircraft. I would say that they're very similar in that retrospect, or in the aspect, not retrospect, in the aspect of that to LatinVFR. I think their aircraft and the goal of their aircraft is sort of a bridge between simulation fidelity to high quality texturing and an overall general flight experience for the average simmer. Someone who just loves to get up and fly and enjoy flying a particular type of aircraft, I think Coronado is fantastic for. So please do not misconstrue the words that I state. But when it comes to this turboprop aircraft, the PC-12 is one that I really, really want. I want a high fidelity version of the aircraft, and it seems like Simwork Studios is absolutely just kicking tail and turning names. Yes, I said that backwards on purpose, in order to develop a very, very authentic release of the PC-12. There's still quite a bit of work to be done on the aircraft, from everything to the avionics, again, mentioning those specific failures and maintenance and things like that, as well as the aileron and rudder interconnect systems that are being resolved as well. One of the really cool things, and I'll have a link to this down in the description below, guys, if you're interested, is they have been very, very transparent with their roadmap. Not only showing what the roadmap is, but showing where they are in it, meaning that they are actually displaying what is fixed, what's not, what's completed, what's being worked on, and that is being updated as time moves forward so that the community can monitor the progression of the aircraft development. And I think that really says a lot for Simwork Studios and what they are trying to do to keep the community informed of their progress. With the small glimpse of the interior that they are providing us, you guys can see that they are certainly going with more of a mixture aircraft. I don't know what all of the avionics are going to be available, but it looks like there we can see the 750 on the dash there, or on the what's the word I'm looking for, guys? Glare shield. So there's a lot more coming. I don't know what all of the different options in regard to avionics going to be. I hope that they maintain a more or less analog configuration of the aircraft. At the same token, what I'm seeing here seems like it to be a very, very nice balance. What I'm very, very happy to see is that they're not, again, going with a full glass cockpit configuration. It's nice to see things that are coming back to a more manual, more analog configuration. Super excited about this aircraft, you guys. There's a ton more information available. I'll have a link to their Facebook page if you guys want to go and check it out and see all the information that is being provided in regard to this particular aircraft. This is one that I, again, am following very, very closely, and I cannot wait for the release of the Simwork Studio PC-12. Let me know what you guys think down below as far as your opinions of this aircraft and what your most important feature would be in regard to it. As always, folks, I hope you guys found this news video informative and exciting as I did. I am certainly very confident that our flight simulation experience is about to expand in a very, very great way. I'm super excited for the Black Square aircraft as the Duke. The Duke is going to be just too cool for words. I love the twin engine aircraft in general, and the fact that we're going to have both a turboprop and a piston aircraft available for purchase, I think is a really fantastic idea and gives a lot of variation to the overall simulation experience. And then again, my next liner up there would be the Simwork Studio PC-12. Let me know what your favorite part of today's news video was, guys. I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to join the Discord, you guys. A link to our Discord channel is available in all of my videos down in the description. So if you guys are interested in being a part of the community, we'd love to have you on board. There's always constant communication going on in the Discord channel, talking flight, talking specs and tweaking settings and things like that. There's a ton of really great community members that are really focusing hard on supporting the community in regard to technical support. So if you guys are battling something, again, join us on the Discord. A link to that will be found in the description below, and we'd love to help you out or just sit and talk flight with you guys. As always, stay safe and healthy, folks, and I'll see you in the next one.